Okay, good morning to every one of you. This morning, my brief is certainly to rebunk and to inform the general public, unlike what was being circulated on social media on Saturday, I think, while I was at church, saying that I had a massive heart attack. This is not true. That wasn't true. And of course, I'm asking for persons who would use social media to circulate, this sort of information that could make other persons feel uncomfortable, like my family who were not with me at the time. They should desist from doing so. I am extremely well. I'm fine. I'm fit. I'm able to do what I'm doing. That is as far as my health is concerned. I am extremely well, and I'm hoping to maintain my health and to do what I'm supposed to do to stay fit and care for myself and my family. Yeah. Yes.
In relation to your health, Mother, as you said, you're healthy, you're strong. You will be the candidate for the next general election for Castries South.
For Castries South, the party has its process. The party would invoke the necessary processes, and that is happening in all constituency. I've indicated my interest to continue to be the candidate. I've done so, and the process of the party is on in all constituencies, similar to Castries South East. And I would say that I submit myself to the party process. And of course, you would hear a lot more in due time. But yes, I've indicated my interest to continue, and I will try again, subject to the approval of the process and letting the process go through. So I think the St. Lucia Labour Party has a constitution, and there's a process by which candidates are selected.
Are there any other contenders?
There are persons who have indicated their interest, of course, and I think most persons would know. And of course, that in itself has its own process by which that is dealt with by the party. So I think the time is approaching, and I think everybody's excited. There's a bit of anxiety in the air. There's a bit of machinations and persons doing what they have to do. The opposition is doing what they think they're doing, and I think the government, we continue to work for the people. I continue to represent the ministry and the people of Castries South East with all the vigor, with all of the passion there is, because that needs to be done.
Are you confident that, in spite of the other contenders, that I guess your work over the past 4 years will speak for itself?
Oh yes, my work when it is rolled out, and you would see some very innovative interventions in Castries South East. I think I have not stayed with the run-of-the-mill type of intervention. So, and I'm excited about some of the things I've been able to achieve. I would love to have done a lot more, and there's always room to do a lot more in any country, whether it is the US or there's room for improvement. But when you think of a project like under the elder care program, I contracted with a doctor to visit all of the senior persons who are receiving care so they could do their blood work and fill in their prescription at the bedside. This is innovative. When you think of the fact that the minibus transportation could not go through Montbellier, and I contracted with the Lacroix Minibus Association so that they can do that route. That is innovative. When you think of a bus shelter with washrooms on the end and above it also have, hairdressers working, that is innovative. So there are some things that I've done that I believe it's different. And of course, I think it actually shows what is possible. So Castries South East may very well become the sort of an incubator to see things that has happened that is different that we could roll out and mainstream nationally. And that is how I have approached development within Castries South East. Instead of staying with the same thing, doing the same thing and repeating it, look for a room where you can be innovative, where you can be different, because I am responsible for the Ministry of Social Transformation, and I look for opportunities to come across different with things that is impactful, the things that can help bring about a difference in person's life, and it serves well. So that's what I have done. That is within the Ministry of Equity. We continue to promote that, and there's a lot more to do along those lines.
If I may recall, last year, your ministry embarked on cleaning up the list in terms of persons who are receiving support and what have you. Are you satisfied after that sort of cleaning up that things are running as it should right now, or are there still some glitches in that system?
There's still some, we've done quite a bit of work. So, of course, we have reassessed persons on the public assistance list. So, the number of persons, for example, that that we think are not qualified to be on the list have been identified. We use the term graduate, but to remove persons off the list, we have this. So the work of reviewing our public assistance is in place. It's important to note that the government passed our minimum wage at about $1,200, and our poverty line, 1995, was at $500,000 with at least 25% vulnerability above it. So if you add $600, $800, you have a vulnerability line. Persons experiencing shock could go down below the poverty line. But what's important is that we believe that we need to have our next country poverty survey and to revisit the data associated with poverty and sort of take a different strategy, even in speaking to the issue of vulnerability. So instead of saying poverty, we more refer to it as wealth creation, generational wealth and what have you, because we believe everyone can contribute to wealth creation, even if they may be below the poverty line. So allow persons to view themselves different in the system so that they make better contribution to the society. Yeah.
Do you have a figure of how many people have,
We have about 3,500 persons on the public assistance list. Yes, persons who estimated who probably on the system, but who have done well enough probably to be removed, probably approximately maybe about 600 to 800 persons. And we also have about 1,500 persons who have been certified to be on public assistance, but they're like on the waiting list. Yeah.
Well, in terms of your constituency, what is the status of the resource center? A famous human resource center, is it anywhere close to being open, or is it open right now? What's the status of that? Or what other major infrastructure projects can Castries Southeast expect?
Well, and there's some of them I will allow for Prime Minister to surprise me. But we are currently doing the Cul-de-sac Community Center. And I think it's one that at some point in time, maybe the media should do some investigation, because we're building a community center in Cul-de-sac at approximately $1.2 million in 2024, 2025. And the ones that were built previously, $5 million in Odsa, and $10 million the one in community center in Bexo. One would have to do the cost per square foot and to see whether you're getting value for money. And I still ask the question, why do you need to build a community center? I think I heard that the contractor is still on site, but they robbed 12 of the 26 toilets. And just imagine you had a community center with 26 toilets, and the community had to maintain it.
That's the one in Watson?
The one in Bexo, right? A community center is an asset to the community, operated and maintained by the community. I mean, a $10 million community center to be maintained by the community, certainly one could speak of the level of investment for maintenance. So the one for $5 million, they took the generator, which was underground, and it's almost so many windows. It's almost inviting, for the kind of abuse that's happening. The one that was there before must have been approximately $500,000. So we replaced the one that was $500,000 as the community was using all the time. They never asked for a $5 million community center. We built one that is difficult to maintain in Odsa. Bexo never asked for what was built, but built a $10 million community center that is difficult to maintain. The people in Cul-de-sac are happy with what is happening. Currently, we are building a community center in Bexo for $1.2 million. It means if I had the budget of $15 million, I can guarantee you 40, maybe 30, more than 10 communities would have received brand new community centers. That is practical, easy to maintain, and that is functional. Because the communities, you do not need to put a gym that needs to be operated and maintained by a private concern in a community center. Somebody who wants to operate a gym would look for a private place to rent to do so. So some of the spaces that I see in the Odsa Community Center and I see in the Bexar Community Center are not areas that the community has a demand for. The community needs a place to sit down and have meeting, a place probably to have some ceremony and what have you. But even the kitchen is so massive, it seems in Odsa, it seems like a commercial kitchen. The cupboards are from, many yards of cupboards. Maintenance, and of course I see doors falling apart already and things. So I'm just saying that in terms of infrastructure, the whole approach to it and everything should be through consultation with the people. And had there been consultation with the people in Odsa and with the people in Bexar, certainly we would not have spent $10 million and we have not completed the centers yet. I think there was serious discussion concerning the AC that would be required to operate, because some of them you must use AC. These issues are serious issues. And I think the media professionals, it would be interesting if they deep and analyze a lot closer as to what has happened and why do we do these things, who was consulted, and what is the idea behind a community center. Yes, we've moved from community center, renaming it to HRDC's Human Resource Development Center. It was because of the advent of computers and having a computer clinic or in the community center. The term changed into community center to HRDCs, but it's basically a community space for the community to meet, sit, discuss, and have activities consistent with what they do.
Speaking about the why has the one community center in Roblo also remained closed? Is that complete, or is there a reason why it has been closed?
I'm not too sure. I remember during my time we fixed it, but the activities for community centers was moved to the Ministry of Economic Affairs. So it's no longer with the Ministry of Community Development. So Economic Affairs are the ones developing these capacities, and they hand over to local government. So I wouldn't know, but it is a concern for me as the minister responsible for community development, the extent to which communities participate in the design of these assets, community assets. It really should be consultation with the people for the purpose of which these things are designed. They are not administrative buildings for the government. So certainly I welcome the opportunity to get a government entity to move in part of the Odsa and to provide resources to maybe the council in its maintenance, because the place really do not have much use apart from, the main auditorium area where people sit and have meetings. But there are a number of offices and kitchens and what have you that are not in use until there's maybe a major disaster. So the cost of having it and maintaining it is just too high for the community. So I hope that answers the question, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. And remember, I am extremely well if anybody asks you. Yeah?
Well, good morning. I think you will receive later on in the morning the report on arrivals, international arrivals to St. Lucia for the year 2024. You will see that the year 2025 would show a 14% increase over 2023, which is quite significant, and in fact is a 3% increase over 2019. 2019 was our best year for arrivals, and of course, we better in 2019 indicate that we've surpassed pre-pandemic levels. And for us, that's quite a significant achievement that the industry is now seeing more persons arriving than we did before COVID. And 2019 being our best year, we can proudly boast that 2024 showed a significant increase over 2023 and an increase over 2019. And when you look at the figures for cruise arrivals, you will also see the same story being repeated with greater increase. And we expect 2025 this year to be even bigger than 2024, which shows that St. Lucia is on an upward trajectory. What also makes it even more impressive is the fact that for 2024, we had over 500 rooms out of stock. Basically, the closure of the what is formerly Shock Morgan Bay, now will be Secret St. Lucia. And of course, on the VG Beach, the closure of the 3 hotels that was there, originally known as Royal St. Lucia, St. Lucia and Papillon, and of course, later on, known as Mystic and Starfish. So we had over 500 rooms not available. But despite that, we were still able to increase over 2023 by 14% and over 2019, our best year, by 3%. And the cruise ships, of course, we've seen both an increase in actual visits as well as the numbers. And for us, that is quite exciting. Over the next few months, the resort at Shock will now reopen as Secret St. Lucia. So almost 350 rooms will come back and be available, to the industry in St. Lucia, which is a welcome return of those rooms. The project at Ridgely Beach is going to slowly get into top gear. I think the demolition is already starting slowly, and certainly that will add to the room stock. Of course, we've seen significant growth in the villa sector as well as the home accommodation sector, and that has helped us tremendously in terms of offering a diverse range of options for persons who wanting to come to St. Lucia. And we surely see, when it comes to event tourism in particular, jazz, carnival, the beach festival, and cricket and other such activities, a high demand for home accommodation and for the villa sector. So the industry continues to grow. Important for us is to increase the offerings that we have. We've always held a position that for us, the important thing is not just numbers, but it's really not quantity, but the quality of the experience that we offer and how St. Lucians are benefiting more and more from the industry. We've held the view, and we've been persistent in our view, that we want more St. Lucians to participate in the industry and more St. Lucians to start owning the industry. And as the industry grows, we have to make sure that we achieve that stated objective. So we are in constant dialogue with taxi drivers, for example, to try to solve some of the problems they have, because there are problems. And, like we always say, when there are problems, we roll up our sleeves and we work with stakeholders to try to solve those problems. Whether it's the boat owners, we have to work with them, the vendors. And you will see the new vending facility at the Mon being built, and in the next 3 weeks or so, we'll be opening the box park at the waterfront, which will be our newest vending facility for the tourism industry. And you will see over the next few months, construction starting with a number of facilities around St. Lucia. We need to offer more opportunities for St. Lucians to benefit from the tourism industry. And we're going to do that in through multiple avenues. I spoke of the vending facilities. We will advance the work, and it's work that has been started years ago, to develop more beach parks around the island. First of all, for St. Lucians to be able to, when they do go to the beach, to get proper facilities at the beach. I mean, gone are the days when you go to the beach, spend the entire day, and there are virtually no facilities available for St. Lucians to use. So you will see shortly we're starting a facility at the Ridgely Beach, which is our most popular beach. You will see at Mont Pimad, we're starting a beach facility there as well. You will see down in the south, some work will start on establishing those facilities. It will also help us in terms of the cruise passengers that do come to spend a day on the beach, because they too always ask where are the facilities on the beach. So it would help us quite a bit, both for our St. Lucians who utilize the beach, as well as the visitors who do come in. So you'll also hear of the work of the CTA, the Community Tourism Agency, and over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be launching 5 new CTA projects around St. Lucia. And again, these projects really show the success of the approach of making sure that St. Lucians have access to a facility that they can use to finance the projects and to get into the tourism industry. So as you know, with the CTA, the monies that are made available by government is up to 2/3 loan and up to 1/3 grant. So St. Lucian who does not have access to the normal commercial space to finance their projects, either because they don't have security, either because interest rates are too high, they can go to the CTA and, of course, to be able to get financing for their projects. We are learning through the course of implementing that project that it is an exceedingly difficult task to help persons who really don't have the foundation. So, for example, somebody will come to us and they have a brilliant idea for a hiking trail. And then you ask them, well, the first thing you're going to do, if you're going to erect structures, you're going to do this, you need to have ownership of the land. We need to find out that it is family-owned land. And then you have to get the consent of all the owners, and then to get all the family members to sign authorization papers takes so much time. Or sometimes they don't own the land, and you have to talk about leasing it, and then to go through all the negotiations for lease agreements. And of course, DCA will not approve projects unless you have permission to do so on property. And then some of them have an idea, but they don't have a design, they don't have all the elements. You have to now find an architect to work with them to be able to do the designs for them, get engineers for them to do the engineering part of the project. So, you know, it is not as simple as it may sound, that a project under the CTA for somebody who is not an established business person, who doesn't have all the elements in place, it's proving to take almost 2 years even to get it started. But we are at that point where quite a few projects have now completed the project cycle and will be implemented and formally open. And it's exciting for us because as we see St. Lucians who are not really formally into the industry, owning the industry, now starting to own it, is really exciting and bearing fruit. So for us, that is quite significant. And of course, you would have heard a few days ago, we launched the jazz lineup. And I think from all indication, it's probably the best received lineup that we've had, certainly for a very, very long time, and certainly the best since we revived jazz. Because you'd remember the last government had stopped the jazz festival and replaced it with Soleil. So since we brought it back in 2023, it's really grown. And we've now added some new exciting elements to it. So on the opening night, we've introduced country. We've made a deliberate effort to add more pure jazz. So you would see pure jazz now Tuesday, Thursday, and even expanded, and even to bring in local St. Lucians. So we have a jazz panist who will be being showcased. We have more locals coming in to be part of main stage, and also persons who have not gotten that kind of opportunity. We want to put St. Lucians on main stage to really show what they have to offer the world. And we keep saying to them to continue to hone their craft and continue to develop, and to, when they feel they are ready, to send the proposals to us so we can see what it is they'll be presenting. And I must say a few St. Lucians have really stepped up in terms of what they want to present. So you'll continue to see more St. Lucians on main stage, displaying the right attitude, the right approach, the right creativity, and for us to give them the opportunity. I've been watching the ticket sales since we launched, and yeah, it's been quite good. I haven't gotten the spread of where the tickets are being bought, because as you know, it's online, and how many different countries are we seeing sales from, but the sales have been very encouraging. I don't want to go into too much details, but I must say we're going to have a real bumper jazz festival this year, and I'm still starting to think of where we're going to host all those persons for the opening night. But you know, it's going to be a real special jazz for this year. And only last week, Saturday, just for fun, as you know, launch their costumes. And last night we had a new band being launched as well at Royalton. So whilst we are, getting into the jazz and, working on the different elements of jazz. And I forgot for jazz to mention, we brought in a new community this year, Miku. For the first time, Miku will be part of the Fringe events. And they're promising us the best location ever anywhere in St. Lucia for mass crowd activities. So it'll be something to look out for. And I'm sure the parliamentary rep at some point will speak to you about what his committee is doing. So we also advanced our preparations for Carnival. And very soon I'll speak to you about emancipation in August, because, that too is going to be special this year. It's also going to be the same time World Expo in Japan is taking place, where St. Lucians are expected to participate in a grand way. Those of you who remember Dubai and certainly what we put on, and we're expecting it to be even more spectacular in Japan when it is held. Yeah, I'll come to Independence. Well, I was speaking about events that fall under my ministry. Yeah. Huh? Independence? Independence is culture? Well, yeah, we see it different. It's under Prime Minister's office. But, of course, Independence celebration is really important, and we've started off with some of the activities already. A very popular one is the battle relay. It energizes the entire country, and all communities get involved. So even certainly in my constituency, the committee has started meeting and planning for battle relay. I think the battle relay this year starts in Babono. So that's a different arrangement. But of course, independence means a lot to us in terms of achieving our self-rule and autonomy, constitutional autonomy. So, it is going to be another special event for us. But of course, it falls under a different office. So I leave it to that office to speak some more about it. But we have a very exciting year ahead of us, certainly in tourism and creative industries. I think this year's carnival will be the biggest carnival that we've had. And if all that we've seen so far, I think we have some surprising additions. Every year we try to do things better and to add. And again, in a subsequent presentation, I will share with you some of the new elements for this year's carnival.
Any plans on changing the routes?
There are a lot of discussions on the route. But the thing that we are blessed with is that this is a scenic route. It's a very special route in terms of the setting and the look and feel that it creates. So it will be very difficult to move that route from what we have into something that might not be as exciting and appealing. However, the route has some challenges, and we're going to continue to discuss the route. I think we all agree that the longer you make the route, in a sense, is the more you allow for ease of movement of the bands. So there are different strategies that can be looked at, whether you select the bands in terms of the order to make sure you don't have any pile up, maybe large, small, large, small. That's one way, or to make it longer, so the more they have to traverse in castries is the less time you have for bands to clash, because the big bands meeting in confined spaces. So there are a few operational issues that they're going to continue to work on. But, you have to constantly be open-minded about it. There have been suggestions to use Millennium Highway or Julian Alfred Highway, but then you have the hospital there, and you have, issues of transportation of persons to and from. So there's a lot. We always looking at ways in which we can improve it. But the route is a special route. There are people who come to play mass and come for the road experience in St. Lucia. The road experience in St. Lucia is unique. And there are people who come just for that. So it will be a little difficult, for us to just move from that route unless we have something much better. And of course, the community participation is also another one, because at the back of our minds always is, as costumes get more expensive, and we don't want too many St. Lucians left out, those who actually want to be on the road. So we have to think of ways in which we can create opportunities for St. Lucians to enjoy Carnival, as an authentic St. Lucian experience, and not to just restrict them to being spectators. Yes, spectators are necessary, but we also want to create opportunities and space So, for example, for my part, I would love to see a pan side on the road on Carnival Monday and Tuesday, and Solutions just following a pan, side on the road. How do we make something like that happen? How do we create opportunities for Solutions? If you want to just create your own costume and just come on the road and follow music system as a solution, just enjoy yourself. But of course, those things have to be discussed, security, management of all those things. So it's exciting. So we're going to look forward to having an even bigger carnival this year, bigger jazz. And a lot of people are talking about Kingdom Night too, which is going to be a special night at jazz. So, yeah.
In relation to jazz, though, what is the allocation for this year's jazz?
Well, the budget has not passed yet. It's going to be April. We pass the budget. But we make some commitments in this year's budget. I haven't seen what the final artist cost will be. I know they really struggle to make sure they contain it within a certain range, because some of the artists that we may have wanted to come, we just cannot afford them because the artist cost continues to go up. But I can find that out for you.
And we'll get a report also on how much was spent on last year's.
Yeah, I'll do so in my presentation during the budget or whatnot. Yeah.
There are some concerns raised by citizens. I think what you're saying is that the rate development, that it is, I think it's expanded beyond what is shown in the design. So I just wanted
Yeah.
to clarify whether there's any truth to that, or what are the plans for the beach park?
Well, I saw that posting, and this is bizarre. I don't know where the person got that from. And I read that I read the posting, and the person said there'll be a 9-story office building there. But where did that come from?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know whether the person had a nightmare the night before. No, sometimes you can dream things, and honestly, I mean, this one was just totally bizarre. I mean, as far as I know, and we've already completed the designs. We've approved the designs. We had a public meeting to discuss the designs. All the vendors were invited, and the residents were invited. The project is moving quite quickly. The former Caribbean Jewels Hotel is being renovated, and the hotel at the bottom is starting. I have no idea, absolutely no idea where that came from. The person posted it, and they called on St. Lucians. Like I said, when I read it, I was convinced somebody had a bad dream, and they just wrote their dream on Facebook when they woke up.
GPH, can you just tell us what's happening now?
Yeah, all the designs are near completion and should be submitted to DCA end of January. There had been preliminary drawings sent in for approval in principle. DCA raised a couple of issues with some of the designs, so everything has been completed to go to DCA. They told me by the end of January, which should be this week. And once that is done, we can start moving into the next phase.
Okay. I think just recently Grenada reported the earnings for the CBI program close to $500 million for the government. Let me get a comment from you in terms of for ours, what that looks like.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will be coming to Parliament shortly with the report for last year. And also I'm going to wait for the report from the external firm that did the operational audit of the CIP. So we can come to Parliament with both reports and to show basically what was found. But you will see this year, in the report this year, an increase in the performance of the CIP, because a lot of the real estate investment would have been realized during the course of the year. Of course, the real estate investment goes to the developer. What the government gets is the government fees. So you would see a noticeable increase in earnings because those real estate applications would have been processed and approved during the course of last year. So you'll see a healthier CIP.
What's your projections for the next financial year for our CBI program?
I expect it to grow again slightly, and thereafter there's a little uncertainty given some of the changes that are taking place, the MOA that was signed, and everybody's trying to reconfigure and redesign the landscape. What would have had significant growth over the last 2 years is the real estate investment. And real estate investment drives a lot of numbers because investors are getting investors to invest in their development, and they get citizenship. Government get government fees. So you will see an increase in numbers because of that. So the future still has a lot to be
Are
decided.
there any plans to change that real estate option? Is it productive, I think, for the government? Is it beneficial for St. Lucia? Because the argument is that it's really the developer getting everything in the end.
You are right, and there are some of us have some opinions out there that you should not do real estate anymore, because although government get government fees, the investor gets the block, the bulk, the compare. But once you do that, you have to decide that you will not get investment through the CIP. You won't.
So investment is only coming through real estate?
In terms of property development, yeah. But that's what it is, real estate investment. So a developer says to you, I'm going to build a hotel, you give me X amount of shares, everybody who buys a share gets citizenship. But the share I'm selling is my share. So I get the investment, you get the fees. If you stop that and say, look, no developer can get CIP, so you stop the real estate investment, it just won't be offered. So, you understand? Yeah. So you can decide that. It's a policy decision.
Yeah, but then there's no other way that we can attract investment, foreign investment?
No, we do. In those, St. Lucia attracts foreign investment without CIP, but CIP brings in extra. So, but you can decide you're not doing it.
What is the government doing?
Well, I think it's something we will discuss, we should discuss, because we have to constantly review whether it is worth it. Because it's citizenships we're offering, the developers benefit most. So you have to decide if you're going to do it or not. Now, when you offer real estate, the developer actually goes out and they make sure they get sales of their shares. So you can stop that, and you now have to rely on donation. Now, it's just different. Somebody who makes a donation doesn't get a share in anything. He just gives away the government 200,000 or whatever it is. So that's why the bonds is popular, why the real estate is popular, because the applicant gets something in addition to citizenship. In the case of the bonds, they catch their bonds at the end of 5 years and they get back their money.
Let's look at the broader aspect of the CBI program, because we're selling citizenship, so we're adding citizens to our nation. At what point do we stop?
These are policy, and these are policy decisions. When we started in 2016, we had a cap of 500 per year. We may have to return to the cap, but these are again our policy decisions.
Okay. Will we get an understanding in your report, Parliament, how many people have been added to?
I did that in the last presentation I made to the House, and I will do it again at the next presentation. Yeah.
Can we get clarification on the beach park in Raby? You mentioned it earlier. This is a beach that has a lot of foot traffic. When will it start? What changes will we see? What can we expect?
Well, as it is now, there are no facilities there. There are none. There are a couple of vendors who sell there. It's an area that we have a lot of problems with. I mean, almost every day we get reports on visitor harassment, petty crime, and a lot of it has to do with the location where it is. There's not proper light in there, so going at night time is a challenge. But a lot of St. Lucians do go there. Well, the entire Ridgeway Beach is extremely popular. But historically, there'd be no hotel there, and a lot of people gather there. So our plan really is to elevate the place, to put in facilities so people can shower, people can take a rest and sit down in shade, for example. There'll be restaurants, there'll be proper vending facilities there. So it's really about upgrading the place and improving the experience that comes there. And it's something we want to do at multiple beaches, not just there. So, I mean, I think the final plans will be going to the DCA for approval. And of course, I can't tell you the exact date, but sometime during the next few months, we will start work on it.
Last year there was an administrative error with the payment for Carnival, I believe. What's in place this year to prevent this from reoccurring?
Well, I wish somebody could tell me that. what make sure it doesn't happen again, seriously. But you know, it's a little complicated in a sense that we still are waiting for invoices for some services during Carnival last year. Still, up to today, we're still waiting for some invoices. Even for jazz, we're still waiting for some invoices. Some people have not even, and some of the invoices are contested. You need to discuss it because you get some amounts, whatnot. So despite all that happened, and the Prime Minister made all the monies available to pay all the invoices we had in the system, and then you get a call telling you, well, it's still 2 invoices that just came in. You know, and there's systems in place to prevent that from happening, but it still happens. And
Who's responsible for the independence?
Prime Minister's office,
OPM?
yeah, OPM.
Because there were some people last year complaining about their payments not being received.
You know, I sometimes, you know, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
We have a whole year to go again. So.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Morning, everybody. It gives me great pleasure to indicate that we've been moving with lightning rapidity in St. Lucia to ensure that we have the development of our playing facilities up to a level to accommodate the sporting program of this government. As you may know by now, last year we had, for the first time in St. Lucia's history, a semi-professional football league where our footballers were actually given the opportunity to harness their talent and their capabilities and make an income at the end of each month. Late last year, the Prime Minister also announced that we will be formally having a semi-professional cricket league. And we are on stream to ensure that we have this semi-professional cricket league in April. Well, commence in April of this year. We're hoping to have a very good start and launch at the Minder Phillip Park, which has been refurbished. A lot of financing have been pumped into the Minder Phillip Park. And so this is the expected venue for the first ever official semi-professional cricket match in St. Lucia. We also have a number of other playing facilities that are earmarked for development in terms of upgrades, and we are certainly looking forward to ensuring that this commences as soon as possible. In terms of semi-professional football, we also had the first award ceremony for individuals in terms of the individuals from each team that scored goals, defended very well, played very good midfield, and the official handing over ceremony of checks to the winning teams and those who excelled in this year's semi-professional cricket league. We continue to develop the community of Grosile under my stewardship as parliamentary rep. We're expecting that the Grand Riviere Community Center to be open very, very soon. Immediately thereafter, we'll commence work on the daycare for the elderly, which will be done in that community of Grand Riviere. We also have on stream some other sporting developments in the communities in Grosile. The Grosile playing field is expected to be completed before the end of this quarter, and also the Labon Court is expected to be commenced. If you guys want a list of playing fields that are earmarked for development, that will include the Leoness playing field in Castries East, the Denry playing field, change room, and completion of the stands. The Bocage Court is also down for upgrade. Auger playing field is also down for upgrade. The Mac Court for construction. Bexar playing field for resurfacing and lighting. Lafargue playing field in terms of the upgrade of the lights and the resurfacing of that field. Larissus playing field upgrade as well in the Mabia Valley. Piero playing field is down for some upgrades. VG Sports Complex, as we've spoken about for a number of years, Court Sport. We are going to be commencing the work at the VG Sports Complex to ensure that we have a covered venue for netball, basketball, volleyball, and all court sports in St. Lucia. The Gardens playing field, the Gardens court is also down for an upgrade, and the VG Sports facility, the SAB Sports facility in terms of stands and lighting, and of course the erection of some brand new stands for that area for semi-pro football is also approved. And the Debawa playing field in Babono is down for some construction as well. And the people of Leclerc, after winning the first ever semi-professional league, will be happy that the playing field is down for upgrades in terms of lights and seating for that area. And in the constituency of Grosley, the Labon Court, we're expecting to get the final word on the Labon Court in terms of the commencement date in that community and the Moshi playing field lighting. A lot of work has been ongoing by the Ministry of Youth Development and Sport, and we're certainly hoping that we can continue to harness and develop our talent at the different venues. You will be getting an announcement on the gym facility at the Mindo Phillip Park for our athletes. That the gym, in terms of the equipment, has been installed. We're waiting for some electrical works and some mirrors to be placed at that Mindo Phillip Park venue to ensure that strength training is something that we can continue to have, as we said in last year's budget, at the Darren Army Cricket Grounds and the Mindo Phillip Park. Questions?
Yes. In terms of the Grosley field, Mr. Minister, we saw last December the veterans were the first team to their competitive spot there. Is there going to be a formal opening? And I know there's works going on. What is the status?
Well, when you have a constituency that is the size of Grosley, you do not want to close the field for too long. And so we had works happening concurrently. So as soon as the field was usable in terms of for cricket and football, we allowed the patrons, we allowed the athletes to use it. There's still work going on, and if you were there last week, if you pass through and you pass through the previous week and you passed through last week, you would have seen the covering on that area, and then we're putting in the sitting and some of the cosmetic work around the playing field. We are certainly hoping that by March, if not Easter, we can have a grand opening of that Grosley Mini Stadium. We are going to announce a name for that Grosley Mini Stadium as well. We've had a lot of sporting talent come through that playing field, and so we're going to give it an official name and official name for the stands as well at Grosley. And so we can look forward to the surface being done properly and ensuring that we have a proper facility for national events.
That's one. There was a little setback at Mindo Phillip in terms of the vandalism.
Marsha Grounds. Yes.
What is the position of this?
Well, we were very saddened to discover that vandals actually broke into the storage area for some very important equipment at the Marsha Grounds. Marsha Grounds, it's another facility that was abandoned by the previous administration, and we've invested some significant amounts to ensure that we upgrade the sitting facility, and we are going to be upgrading the lights as well. Again, Mindo Phillip Park is a national facility, and we expect Marsha to be used more for the constituency in terms of their football competitions and in terms of some of their social development programs in that community. And so we were very, very disappointed that individuals would have taken that course of action. We do believe that there is enough evidence sprouting to find out who these individuals are. We've heard that some of the individuals have posted the sale of equipment on Facebook, and so we're doing our best to hone in on who those individuals were and prosecute them. And we just want to send out a loud clarion call to all the communities that we've mentioned that are going to undergo some level of development in terms of sporting facilities, that this will not be tolerated. We continue to have to shoulder the burden of security costs throughout our communities, and we would prefer to use those funds to further develop the playing facilities, but we have to bite the bullet and provide additional security at every one of those venues to ensure that we have a proper work program ongoing.
What the noise pollution legislation this year?
I'm certainly hoping that we can have everything on at Parliament for discussion. We've had it in the public sphere. We've pretty much provided that document for persons' perusals and for comments. A huge part of that document is the decibel levels, and we have various apps that could be tapped into to see what legislatively can be done for people who break the law when it comes to decibel levels, whether it's in your vehicle, whether it's in a dual occupancy community like Rodney Bay. But it is a document that I believe, as the MP for Groseley, that, I mean, it's a national document, but Groseley, in terms of Capestate, Bonte, Rodney Bay, Rodney Heights, these are the areas that you have a significant amount of complaints as it pertains to noise pollution. So I felt I had to take the lead on that as the MP, and I look forward to it being presented in Parliament very soon.
First quarter?
I'm certainly hoping the final presentation to Parliament, the AG's chambers, of course, along with the Honourable Prime Minister and others, will definitely decide when it's tabled. But it has been in the public sphere, and I do hope that very soon we'll have further discussions in Parliament. I'm ready. Simply because there is no perfect legislation. There will be places that, after public consultation, we are hoping to strengthen. And of course, once it's implemented, we will see further where amendments can be made. But we need to ensure we fortify this legislation very soon.
What of the lease to own apartments, the plan to have this apartment in Casablanca? What of
Yeah, I've seen that. I've come under some pressure on social media about the lease to own apartments in Casablanca. I will inform the individuals again that surreptitiously believe that they can attack people's characters, without being known, that we are aware of who these individuals are, first and foremost. And secondly, I'm not the Minister of Housing. I campaigned and indicated that I would prefer, when you have a constituency of Groseley with so many residents and more coming in, perhaps even as we speak, that we have alternative ways of providing housing opportunities for individuals. And one of those that I suggested was, of course, the lease to own, sort of apartment complexes and that sort of thing. The Minister of Housing would be the best to answer, and of course the Minister of Finance, in terms of the timeline for the implementation of this. For me, as a parliamentary rep for Groseley, we've looked at a number of places that it could have happened. We've looked at Beausejour, and of course we looked at Casablanca, and there is some crown land in Casablanca. As we know, this is a constituency that a lot of the land has been sold, and the value of property is very high. The cost of property is very high there, and I would love to see this project commenced as soon as possible. A number of persons have come to my constituency to inquire about it, but as you would know, I'm currently not the Minister of Housing, and I certainly hope that very soon we can get some clarity as to a start date.
Yeah, sorry, but you were the one who did make the announcement of the apartments for Casablanca.
I did, of course, because of the information I have is that the Ministry of Housing, they've done, and you can ask the Minister, they've done due diligence, they've done analysis on the areas that I have recommended. I've never shied away from saying that I did announce that it was happening. Again, what I cannot definitively say is the start date of the project. And so I certainly hope that it's very soon. Because let's face it, I as a parliamentary rep for Groseley, I continue to add on pressure for all the developments that I need in my constituency, including roads, including retaining walls, including housing, including youth development. And at the end of the day, those things that fall under my purview, I try my best to execute as soon as I can, and I apply the pressure on other ministers. Sometimes they say a little too much, given that Groseley is not all of St. Lucia. I hear it all the time, but my responsibility is to apply the pressure and try to get it as soon as possible, and that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'll continue to do.
What's her name? Johnson, Marcella Johnson. Prospective
I like the way you said that.
for
What's her
she's,
name?
Well, she's, I guess, criticizing
Mm-hmm.
how healthcare is handling your constituency.
Imagine that.
Yes.
Imagine
I
that.
just want to comment from you on that.
Imagine that.
I think with Groseley or something is that
First and foremost, under the UWP they went into a 6-year period and there was no ambulance at the Grizzly Polyclinic until I came in as parliamentary rep and applied the pressure to ensure that we got an ambulance, an additional vehicle to have medical supplies supplied and moved from medical institution to medical institution. We are very soon going to be announcing the groundbreaking ceremony to actually open up and extend the Grizzly Polyclinic. They were in power for 5 years, went into a 6th year, and absolutely no infrastructural development was done or instituted at the Grizzly Polyclinic. We are doing this under this administration. The Grizzly Polyclinic has been serving, we say 30,000, that's on paper, but I would say another 10,000 should always be added into the constituency in terms of population for those who live in my beautiful constituency and are not registered. Some were actually in this room. An additional 10,000. And we've said from on a daily basis that we need to extend the hours, the opening hours of the Grizzly Polyclinic. And finally, under this administration, we will be making the Grizzly Polyclinic a 24-hour polyclinic to serve as many people as possible. So I'm hoping that before we actually get into the next financial year, that we'll see all those things actually happening in my constituency. And these are things that were never done, even in a 6th year. And I need to provide this clarity because a lot of people are saying 4 years. It will officially be 4 years in July. It is closer to 3.5 years that we've seen all this development in my constituency. In 3.5 years. And I challenge anybody to look back at the 3.5 years, the first 3.5 years of the previous MP for Grizzly and tell me what was done. Because I can surely recall that it was not until year 4 that roads started sprouting out from everywhere. But in 3.5 years, the infrastructural development in Grizzly, the sporting development, the social development of the constituency of Grizzly, and the healthcare development happening in Grizzly has never been seen at that level in 3.5 years. And so I know that it's silly season. We see the commencement of a lot of rumors, a lot of lies, absolute lies. There is a particular flood in the community of Grand Riviere who has pretty much hit the ground. No matter what time of year, it seems to be flooding and just perpetuating absolute lies about me, my family, and others throughout the constituency, all in the hopes of deceiving people and blinding people to the fact that Grand Riviere, for the first time in history, will finally have a community center, a multipurpose court, and a daycare for the elderly. In a 3.5 year period, we've seen the commencement and the institution of all this. So my record is very clear as a parliamentary rep. I hold no illusions that brick and mortar programs do not win you elections. But my connection with the Grizzlies is something I believe is unmatched. I would just say to Grizzly people that you have a parliamentary rep that is at work all the time. And while he is at work, there are others who will profit the opportunity to spread lies and to go on the ground, hoping that they can win an election by availing themselves while the parliamentary rep is at work and working day and night to ensure that they develop in a very sustainable way. So bring it, bring the lies, because they've had nothing of substance. Nothing of substance. The only way they believe they can win an election is by lying, not on policy, not on record, and not what has been delivered to the people of this constituency.
What are your thoughts of Ms. Johnson, though, as a contact?
Somebody has to run. Somebody has to run. Somebody has to run the seat. Somebody has to contest. And for me, I believe that anybody who wants to represent the people of Grizzly, they must have a track record of being, not just in the last 2 months, a record of having sponsored at least one tournament before deciding they want to come and represent the people of Grizzly, be part and parcel of the community, organizations, the groups. And what I could have said before I came in, PRO, Groseley Community Action Group, member, Orion Sports Club, social transformation officer dealing with poverty alleviation in my community. I mean, a representative of all people from Labon to Groseley, all and sundry. This is what I came in, and this is what I offered to the people of Groseley. And so when you see the developments in Groseley in terms of the playing field, you see the Grand Riviere Community Center, you see the road interventions, you see the intervention in healthcare and tourism, is because there's a genuine love that didn't just start because a political leader just said, I need to choose somebody to run. But it came from an individual that started from day one, born and raised, damn proud Groseley. That's what I offer to my people. And when the campaign starts truly, that's what I'm going to offer to them. A track record of hard work, dedication that will continue for the next 20 years.
Okay, so I'm not into politics today. I'm going to young sports. Let's speak about the track. I know some time ago, yes, Sunday, I believe the guys were out of St. Lucia and they were speaking about that track. And I believe the plans have been drafted, everything have been there, and they wanted to have some more information because from the Kakabe for the track, I know everything. Could you speak to me if you have any information about the track? Speak to me about it.
Okay, so we definitely have a costing for the establishment, the preliminary costing for the development of the track, the horse racing, the car racing track. It's currently over $15 million that we are looking at, and that's just preliminarily. We are doing the analysis. There are certain areas that we've looked at, including Lakai and Dennery, and of course cul-de-sac as the options. We truly, as a ministry, did not want to move from Vieux-Fort because we believe that Vieux-Fort has that rich culture. But in all honesty, we've not been able to identify. We set up a team of individuals. I've visited various sites to identify a place in the south. And of course, this is again a clarion call to anybody who can provide that information on where we could have in the south that area for racing. But we've just not been able to. And so I think as a minister, despite the fact that I really wanted to host this thing in the south and keep it in the south, more than likely we'd have to use the area in cul-de-sac for the erection of that car racing track.
The police station,
I spoke about so much things that we've done in Groseley. It's easy to forget all the development we've had in Groseley in 3.5 years. The divisional headquarters in Groseley to provide more safety and security. It is on stream. Again, I do not have the exact date of completion, but I'm certainly hoping that this year we can move the police from the HRDC in Groseley and move them to their headquarters. And it's going to be equipped with a courthouse, with a holding cell, with a number of the dynamics that is required for pretty much security in the northern part of St. Lucia. And so we're certainly hoping that this would be complete by the end of this year as well.
One last question. So in terms of youth development outside of sports, any plans for 2025?
Absolutely. We have a proposal and a design that we are still working on for the development of a national youth and entertainment center. In terms of the construction, a place that could house the National Youth Council and a place that could host esports events, a council room for various projects and programs. We are in an advanced stage of completing the designs and ensuring that we could present that and commence as soon as possible. We are also very close to ensuring that we have a updated national youth policy, an action plan that is also on the cards, and I think very soon we will be presenting that to Parliament. We do have it on the agenda today at Cabinet, and so that will also be another achievement we want to have in this year.
Thank you so much, Mr. Casimir.
Just now, hold up. I need to address something. I think that as a young parliamentarian, that it is my responsibility to ensure that the next generation of politicians, persons that have ambitions of providing service to St. Lucia, that they understand exactly what happens when a minister has nothing but plans to develop the constituency, the sporting landscape, and of course, ensure that there is sustainable development in all and sundry. The United Workers' Party have launched a personal attack on me and my family. They have posted, and I have addressed it with one media house, information, a document indicating that, I'm not sure if they're saying that I've purchased land, but I just want to set the record straight, that in my position, at my age, I, as a St. Lucian, I feel that is within my purview, that if I have a particular amount of savings or a particular amount of connection with banking institutions, I think it's within my right for all of us young people, whether you're a politician or whether you're not a politician, whether you're a banker, whether you're a physician, a doctor, a lawyer, I think that every single one of us here can go to a banking institution and get a loan. The bank will decide whether or not you qualify for a loan. So I will apologize when I make a mistake, and I've shown that before. But in me going to a bank, applying for a loan and being granted a loan, for UWP to purchase a piece of St. Lucia, for UWP to take that document and to post it on social media as if something untoward is happening, I think it's disgraceful. And it's an element that can discourage young people from getting involved in politics. I refuse to believe that if I spend the next 20 years of my life providing service to St. Lucia, that disqualifies me from going to a lending institution and borrowing money to purchase a piece of property. And I want to say to all young men and women out there that want to get involved in this job and provide a level of service to your country, do not let irresponsible, desperate opposition individuals discourage you from doing that by ensuring that they attack you personally and ensuring that they just do all sorts of unsavory things to discourage you. I am not discouraged, forward ever, backward never, with the development of youth and sports in St. Lucia.
Do you plan, this is a very serious thing, because this is private information that you need to pass. Do you plan to sue or take this to court? Because, what's...
I have explored all my options, and I continue to explore all my options in terms of how I deal with this going forward, because my personal information has been published in the public sphere. And I think genuinely what I have going for me is my connection with my community, my constituency, and individuals who know me, who have said to me and comforted me when I go on the ground that this is just unsavory and this is desperate. And for me, my responsibility is my constituency and young people. I will, for sure, explore all my options. But there's just so much work to be done in this country, so much work in this constituency of mine, that I have looked at what has happened. I have scoured through social media. 9 out of 10 of the people that are commenting, they would use a pseudonym. They won't even use their own profile. That's testament to the fact that they are cowardly, and they know for a fact that there is nothing wrong with a young man acquiring a loan to purchase a piece of property. All the other innuendos and suspicions and all those things that they have is just that. And that is what they would bank on, people's ignorance, to discourage other young people from saying, boy, you see how messy this thing is? But, as I said, I stand true to who I am, who I was raised to be, and the representation that I'm currently providing to the people of Grosley. And no, I do not have a gope well. I do not have a gope well. Again, it is the malicious and dangerous and conniving and deceptive manner in which the UWP, with no clue, a party that did not institute an alternative sports season, a semi-professional football league, a brand new Darren Sammy Stadium, a semi-professional cricket league, and all of those things, there is no conversation that they can have on the overall development of youth and sports in St. Lucia. But they would take and they would sit down and concoct a video about a relationship that ended a year and a month ago and post it in 2025, a year and a month ago, to indicate that I, Kenson Kazmi, the happiest man alive, have a go well.
So, presently, as you said earlier, we're going into the silly season. Listen to your contribution today. I heard a lot of there's politics, what have happened. Now, as a young man yourself, it's obvious you're going to be attacked.
Yeah.
And a lot of things being said by the other side, obviously. But at the same time, as a young man, as you mentioned, you were mentioning a lot of what you have done within your constituency. Do you feel like most times as a politician, basically that is attacks? Because the more you answer, it adds fire to the already fuel to the fire. So with all that being said, do you see now it's more about your community, your constituency, the work that you have been doing, instead of basically giving a response to such negative things about you? And if you just pay no attention to it, it basically sips away.
It's distractions, and I think the UWP understands that the way to try to make inroads is through distracting individuals from the actual development that is happening in this country. And I say distractions because while I am working, as I said, working so assiduously in all parts of Groseley, I mean, there is literally somebody who has nothing else to do but to go around and spread lies and deception. So with that being said, it's obvious that they are going to go personal. They are going to, do those things in the hope that I will be distracted away from the work that I need to do. But I am not. I'm very focused. I know the work I need to do in Moshi, in Labon, in Grand Riviere, in Groseley Town, in Corinth, Marisville, and I feel like I have shown my people that I'm capable of balancing all the negativity and still providing representation.
My final question, do you feel like a code of ethics should be between the two parties, especially when it comes to such? Let's speak about issues. I feel as a solution, it's time that we stop doing that nonsense, attacking people personally. If you want to see what I have done, what I have not done, I will say kuda, shuda, uda. Don't come and tell me that. And basically, the code of ethics should be there for both parties. And I just need your say on it. Do you think for the next coming election, there should be a code of ethics where that underbelly thing should be out of it completely?
To be very honest, there is no code of ethics for anybody who finds themselves backed up in a difficult situation and find that there is no way in terms of logics, in terms of actual development, that they can actually have an argument that actually makes sense. So I think that the St. Lucia Labour Party, even when they were in opposition, they were never that nasty. They were never that personal. They were never that vindictive. I mean, can you imagine the United Workers' Party have the temerity, the unmitigating gall to attack a Chief Justice, somebody who's been upstanding in St. Lucia, provided stellar representation in Groseley for 2 terms, Justice Mario Michel? It means that these guys have no boundary. We can have a code of ethics. I believe my party would adhere to everything because we can speak on the substance of our representation in this country and the development we've had in 3.5 years. While the other party, we will continue to go high and they will definitely continue to go low because there's no other place for them to go. Period.